I've come to the conclusion over the past couple months, changing the way I build decks, that token engines are overpowered, specifically the ones that create creatures. And if you're not in the loop of what a token engine is, it's just any permanent card that can consistently produce tokens. These token engines have been around since day one, albeit only on a single card, and that card was Hive, but hey, back in the day when the design team was down in Crystal Pepsis listening to Motley Crue while eating Jack's pizzas all night like dudes, like real fucking dudes, of course they'd come up with something as cool as the Hive. Funnily enough, I actually used to think the little token cards that come in booster packs were just creatures you could play for free. And I remember pulling this 5/5 dragon token and being like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Buy more booster packs, pull a better token. Sorry, I have good luck. You know, come to find out, tokens aren't just free creatures that come out for no mana with absolutely no downside. Who would have thought? These token engines, however, come in all shapes and sizes, whether it be creatures that create tokens themselves, like Avengers Zendikar or Tauren's Fist of the Angels, enchantments like Feldar Retreat or Sigil of the Empty Throne, planeswalkers like Garruk Wildspeaker and Elspeth Sun's Champion, or artifacts like Maskwood Nexus and Spawning Pit. These token engines are everywhere, and you can find one that works in your deck strategy. More and more of these token engines are being printed in every set, and I don't think that's by coincidence. I think that's because Wizards knows exactly how their game works. Who'd have thought? And in this game, outside of cards that just straight up say you win the game, there's only 3 ways to win: infect damage, combat damage, milling somebody. And with the most recent Phyrexian invasion having brought us the Might tokens, and with cards like Triumph of the Horde, it's safe to say that tokens cover 2 out of those 3 ways you can win the game. So having them on plenty of cards is probably a good idea. Even the last way of winning the game, milling. You could probably find a way to utilize token engines to make it an even better mill deck. Alter Dementia much? Tokens have a ton of grounds to win games of Magic. Not to mention, those very same tokens will be great defensive tools to stop other players from beating your ass those exact same ways. These token engines go in every single deck. Even if you're not a creature deck, I'm convinced of that. Even if you are a straight up control deck that is just based around winning with Approach of the Second Sun and a ton of control pieces, throw a Talrand in there. Now you'll have a big board full of Drakes that you can swing and bash face for flying. Also, all these Drakes just defend you the whole time while you're trying to do your control thing. Group Hug deck? Yeah, throw some tokens in there. 1, they're just more stuff to give away if you're that kind of Group Hug deck. 2, it's blockers in case someone wants to try to be a douche and take out the Group Hug deck first. Imagine you brought a fat stack of cash, all right, to a casino. This top part is hundreds, baby. This bottom part, ones, baby. That's for later. Ding. In this middle part is tens. Tokens are just the $10 bills of the casino that is Commander. They're chump change compared to the bigger bills, but I believe you need them to keep up, play, and potentially win, and they're easily disposed of and can protect you in case anything gets out of hand. Now, I don't want to sound like I have all the answers on this video, but this answers a lot of questions. Voltron decks. The reason they're not good is because you're devoting all your resources to one thing, and then people can easily kill that one thing, and there goes all your resources. You can get like 1 for 10 very easily. I'm convinced these Voltron decks are the weakest deck type because they're not putting cards into the list like Frontline Heroism or Biotransference to turn their auras and equipments into more bodies on the board to either 1, defend them when they swing with their giant commander, because normally that would leave them wide open, 2, potentially deal extra damage with their commander or end games, and 3, have more bodies in play to equip your stuff to if your commander's not in play, or maybe it's just better to equip it to multiple things so you can get damage in. Literally putting a few of these token engines into a lot of strategies where they have these weird big weaknesses, solves a lot of those weaknesses. Another fantastic thing about throwing a few token engines into your deck is it opens you up to some really powerful synergies. Like I said before, throw in an Altar of Dementia, or replace one of your mana rocks with an Ashnod's Altar to start utilizing these tokens that your engines are making. Also, replace one of your card draw pieces with Skull Clamp if one of your engines makes 1/1s, because that's a disgusting engine to have in play, and at worst, you just equip the Skull Clamp to your commander. If someone destroys your commander, draw 2. What I love especially about the artifact and enchantment token engines is that a lot of board wipes hit creatures, which means they will live the board wipe, and then after the board wipe, pump out creatures again. So you will be the first deck at the table to reestablish some kind of board state. You're the hardest to swing at. You're getting more and more damage on the board to empty fields, and you feel safer initiating your deck strategy, which is always good. So that's kind of the point of this video. Tokens are not just a creature deck thing. They are not just a go wide deck thing. They are not just a token deck thing. I think they are an every deck thing, and that they are a package that you should put into your decks because they are the value they give, I feel, drastically outweighs any kind of downside you could find. Now, past that, I'd like to share my favorite token engines that I run in my personal decks, and then my favorite ones that I came across while researching for this video, because there's some really, really cool niche ones that I know kind of inspired me to want to build some decks that I normally would never touch. So I feel that maybe some of you guys would have the same reaction. So let's get into that. Up first is my Go Shinte deck, which we are going to move past very quickly because it is a token deck, so that's the point. Moving on. In my Bello Bard of the Brambles deck, which I'm currently tweaking at the moment, I'm ordering an Asika's Chariot along with Galadrain's Guardian, which I think both interact really well with the commander's overall strategy of wanting to play 3 CMC, non-aura, non-equipment artifacts and enchantments, and provides a nice burst of tokens on our side. I'm also going to pick up a From the Beyond, because that's going to passively be spitting out Eldrazi spawns, which also mana ramps us, as well as gives us bodies on board. But also, Bella's ability can animate the From the Beyond, so this is like a win-win-win-win-win. As far as the Tasigur Spellslinger deck is concerned, it's based off controlling the game and ending it with huge spells. So in this list, I run Shark Typhoon and Talran the Sky Summoner along with Lord of Nazgul, which all provide tokens for us when we cast instants or sorceries, which in this deck with Opt, Preordain, Brainstorm, Ponder, along with plenty of control and removal elements, we'll be getting tons of bodies on the board. Finally, as far as my personal decks are concerned, my Carador Small CMC Toolbox deck runs Grist to mill myself and make 1/1 insects, Torrens to start making our creatures into more creatures, which, you know, in a toolbox deck happens a ton. And finally, Springheart and Tuco, which now that I think about it, I really didn't need to make this video. Just run Springheart and Tuco and you'll immediately understand how amazing tokens are. But anyway, with that, let's move on to some of the cool token engines I found while researching for the video. Let's talk about Araxa, Empress of Mars. 2/2 red for a 5/4 trample battle cry. Already kind of a stat machine. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, whether that be top of your library, exile, opponent's hand, graveyard, you name it, you get a 2/2 red alien warrior creature token. And when you have battle cry attached to the card, not only is it a token engine, it is a benefit for running a couple more token engines. Frontline Heroism and Biotransference are 2 cards I brought up in passing, but let's get a little bit more in depth on them. Frontline Heroism is 2 and a red for an enchantment. It enters with a 1/1 red soldier, and whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single creature you control, create a 1/1 red soldier, copy the spell, and it targets that token. So if you're running a Voltron list that's leaning very heavily into the aura side of things, running a Frontline Heroism in there will make your board fill up with tokens that are also getting this huge buff from your auras, make you way safer to swing with your Voltron commander. And same goes for Biotransference on the other side of things. If you're leaning more towards the equipment side of things, all your equipment's entering and giving you a 2/2 black Necron and you lose 1 life is, again, the exact same thing. You're flooding the board with tokens in a go tall strategy, so you're actually feeling safe attacking with that go tall creature. Attended Healer is just a straightforward token engine for a life gain deck. Whenever you gain life, you get a 1/1 cat, so there you go. And a life gain deck, I'm sure you've got other clerics, so she also gives other clerics lifelink if you want. I guess that's a thing. Animation Module's disgusting being a 1-drop artifact. Whenever you put 1 or more 1/1 counters on something, you can pay 1 and create a 1/1 servo artifact. Pay 3, tap it, choose a counter on target permanent, give that permanent another one of those. This thing is going to be pumping out massive amount of tokens, and those tokens are artifacts, so if you're in an artifact strategy, this will probably play perfectly into the strategy while also being a token engine, which, so nice. Alondra Skydreamer might just be one of my favorite cards altogether. I think it's fantastic. If you're in blue, try it out. 2 and 2 blue for a 2/4. Whenever you draw your second card, you get a 2/2 Drake with flying. Whenever you draw your 5th card each turn, Alondra Skydreamer and Drakes you control each get +1/+1 until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. It's Commander. You're going to be drawing more than 1 card on a lot of turns, especially if you're in blue. This thing's going to be pumping out mad 2/2s. And again, you're in blue. If you got like a Mind Spring in there or something Mind Spring-esque where you're just drawing a ton of cards, you could just have that in hand and wait for the big Drake swing. For the big Drake ting, because it also has a built-in win con on it. I think this card's very, very good. I love it. Feywild Trickster makes me want to build a deck type I've never wanted to touch in a million years, being 2 and a blue for a 2/2. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, you get a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature with flying. So you get the best token type because it just chump blocks everything. Every time you roll a dice, there's a ton of ways to roll dice pretty consistently. Ethereum Spinner is one that I wish was green and or red so bad for Bello, but 2 and a blue for a 2/1. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, you get a 1/1 colorless Thopter with flying. I like this one a lot because if you're just playing big chunky creatures, all your creatures just get a 1/1 flyer backup. That's like, I got you, bro. I'll sit back and do any blocking you need. Feel free to swing. It's like the best buddy cop ever. And then finally, my favorite discovery is Camellia the Seed Miser for 1, a black and a green at 3/3 with Menace. Other squirrels you control have Menace. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel. Pay 2, Forage, which means you exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sack a food. Put a 1/1 counter on each other squirrel you control. I know this reads like, I'm not in a squirrel deck. I don't really want to run this. Are you in a food deck? Because if you're in a food deck, this is creating a ton of squirrels. And then it also has, again, like a couple of these, a built-in win con attached to it. Here you go. I'm gonna dump 8 mana into this and forage 4 times and buff all my squirrels to be 5/5s, and I have 20 of them. Oh, you thought this was a Triskaidekaphobia deck? I mean, it is, but the Seed Misa came in strong, so I said, yeah, I'll kill you with squirrels this game. And this is all to not even really mention the Bitter Blossoms of the world, where they just passively make you tokens on your upkeep, which actually come in incredibly useful for all the reasons I said in this video. And for the exact same reason Bitter Blossom's gotten so much respect over the years, I think any token engine in any deck should get respect, because they're incredibly powerful and useful. But I don't know. Let me know if you agree. If you do agree and you haven't implemented these into certain decks, try them, and please drop a comment and let me know how that has improved your deck or not improved your deck. I really do recommend all you guys throwing 3-4 cards into your decks that are just token engines that work with your strategy. All right, try it out. Come back to me on this video and let me know how it went. I have got a surplus of ideas coming all of a sudden, so content is going to be steady, so get ready for it. I appreciate all the support on the hour and 45 minutes of Commander deck ideas. That's really been showing out. That's almost at like 10K already. If you want to watch that video, you can check it out up here in the corner. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. If you would like to show additional support to the channel, it starts as low as $1, like all the people on the screen right now. You can head over to the Patreon, which is also in the description and the comments. With that, guys, a big thank you. I really do appreciate it. It was a rough end of last year. I feel like it's a pretty good start to the new year. I hope it is for you too, and if it's not, it's gonna be, baby. Here it comes. Here it is. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.